I remember very clearly when I started taking deadlines or due dates very seriously. And it goes back pretty far to when I was in the second grade. So I was probably about 7 or 8 years old at the time. And we were assigned a research paper to pick an animal and write about that animal. And I guess there were certain questions that we had to answer. So everyone, had researched the same background information, but it was about their animal. It was about an animal of their choosing. And I chose a raccoon. I'm pretty sure I chose that it wasn't assigned. I'm not positive, but somehow I ended up with this second grade research paper to write about a raccoon. And it was the biggest assignment that I have ever gotten in school, that I had ever gotten in school so far. It seemed like a lot of work to me. And I didn't necessarily procrastinate. I don't quite remember that being what happened, but my 7 or 8 year old brain was so overwhelmed with what the assignment was. I think I just thought that I didn't actually have to do it. Like, I couldn't understand how I would actually do it because it was more work than I had ever done in my 7 or 8 years on the planet thus far. So I just put it off. I didn't do it because my brain couldn't comprehend how it was actually going to get done. And I think there are equivalent things even as an adult that we just, might put off because we're like, I don't know how I'm going to do that. So we just forget about it or, put it on the back burner. So I don't think it was, that crazy that my 7 or 8 year old brain couldn't comprehend how I was actually going to do this work. So I just didn't do it. But it came to be the day or the night before it was due, and I had nothing. But I knew I had to turn in something. So the reality of what I had done hit me the day or the night before the project was due. It was sort of the reality of, oh, I'm supposed to turn something in at school and I don't have anything. So I scrambled, whatever scrambling looks like, to get a research paper together for a 7 or 8 year old. And I did something so I would have, some paper to turn in. And I hated that feeling. And it was very, very upsetting that I left something until the last minute. And then I had to get all panicked and nervous that, the next day was going to come and I wasn't going to have anything to turn in. It was a terrible feeling for my young self. And so from that moment on, it was actually a really good lesson, or I turned it into a lesson because I was like, I never want to feel like this again. So I started taking deadlines really seriously, and whenever I got assigned something, I would start on it right away. So that didn't happen, but it's just really strange, the feeling of at that time that, like, I don't have to do this because I don't know how to do it. And so it's different than procrastinating as an adult. But that's a really big memory that I have of my childhood. And I have a friend that I'm still friends with from college who would make fun of me as the type of student who would start a paper right away, that when we were assigned to it, like, college students don't do that, they put it off. But I always started right away because from this very early memory of, I do not like the feeling of what it's like if you do something at the last minute because you have a due date or a deadline and you have to turn something in. But what I didn't realize at the time, what this habit did for me, or how it was really shaping my writing process, and also the quality of my writing, because you need to start early and give yourself a lot of time when you write professionally, even if you have tight deadlines. Or if you have tight deadlines, it makes sense that you have to start quickly. But you still get you can still improve the quality of your writing the earlier that you start, even if you don't have very much time in the first place. So what I didn't realize what was happening is that I was strengthening my creative skills in a way by starting early. Because if I outlined something the day that I got a paper assignment in college, for example, I could then go into the rest of my life and everything that I consumed media-wise in the during my day, and all the conversations that I have, and my brain could be like a sponge, and I could use all the information that I was taking in during the day to indirectly affect what I was writing about in that paper. And then the end result was going to be a more nuanced and a more creative piece of writing. I didn't realize that I was doing this by having this practice, but that is what happens when you start early. But what is interesting even today is that a lot of professional writers, including myself, always forget the starting early, because once you start doing something professionally and you can do something faster, you kind of downplay the importance of starting really early. If I know it's only going to take me an hour to write something, it feels a little unnecessary to start that hour of writing way before it's due, right? You're like, I can do that fast. I don't need to start that early because I know how long it takes. I'm a professional. And that's where we can get a little bit cocky, because sure, you can do it. You can do the writing, but the writing will never be as nuanced and as creative and as unique to you as a writer with your unique point of view. It will never have as many of those things unless you start earlier. Because you need the time. There's no substitute for the time. I say a lot, there's no substitute for practice, and this is sort of a version of practice. So whenever I catch myself saying, oh, it's only going to take me an hour to write that, I don't need to start that early, I always try to take a step back. And at least in that moment when you're saying, I don't need to start this right now, it's a really great opportunity to take, at least 15 minutes, if not longer, to just start whatever that assignment is, and start with an outline, start with some brainstorming, start with just what you need to research in the future, like jotting down ideas. That's where I was going with that. Because once you do, you'll have that in the back of your brain, and it starts the marination of the writing process. And then when you relax after work and watch something on TV or watch something on YouTube, you have your writing assignment kind of going on in the back of your brain. And a lot of the times it's not going to directly look like you're pulling something out of, media that you've watched or something that you've read outside of work. And, it's not always direct things that you then bring to your piece of writing. But all of those experiences create just richer writing. Your writing is just so much more interesting when you don't just sit down and write something, but you have sort of a piece of writing that has grown organically over the day, if it's a tight deadline, or over a few days, or over a week or weeks, if you have longer to work on whatever you're writing. You have the chance to go deeper because of all the things that you've experienced around that piece of writing that you can put into your writing. There's just so much overlap between writing and life, even if you're not writing about, just things that you're watching for fun on TV or things that you're reading for fun. Even if they have nothing to do with each other, those experiences enhance your writing. And you don't have that if you turn your writing around in a short piece of time. So even though it's really easy to forget that you need time to do better writing when you're a professional writer because you know you can write faster, it is the one thing, the really simple, easy thing that you can go back to over and over again when you catch yourself saying, "Oh, it's not going to take me that long to write that." And that moment, you have to remind yourself that your writing will undeniably be better if you don't put it off, if you start working on it little by little over time, so that you have the time to push your ideas further. It's pushing your ideas further so that your writing is better and it's just so unique to you as an author. You don't have that when you finish a draft quickly. Even if the draft is perfectly acceptable, there is just no substitute for all those things that I've been talking about that happen when you have more time. So if you are not already subscribed to the Revision Fairy channel, click the red subscribe button below the video, tap the notification bell because then you'll be notified every time I upload something new for you to check out. I make videos that help you become a more hireable writer. So if that's stuff you like, if you like this topic as a good reminder for the next time you think it won't take you that long to write something, but you want to make your writing better, so you need to give yourself more time, give this video a thumbs up. We all need the reminder. I really was thinking about this topic because it's something that I catch myself in all the time. And like I said, for me personally, I can just go back to don't make it the raccoon research report. Don't make it that. You don't want to do that even years and years and years later. I still need to remember that was a terrible experience. And not only do I not want to procrastinate, I want the quality of my writing to be better than what I can do quickly. So yeah, thanks. I will talk with you soon.